as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst, so we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shade. So letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, outside winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the mood, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. This is how we roll, this is how we do. It's not for everybody but the chosen few. And we pray, cause we know that they might not ever come back. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. We can ride high, we can ride low. We can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst, so we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shade. So letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, outside winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the mood, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we chosen few. And we pray, cause we know that they might not ever come back. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. We can ride high, we can ride low. We can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst. We can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove.
Praying to God, ready to rip. On my high, ready to rip. With the armor, ready to rip. Hey, ready to rip. Ready to rip. Hey, ready to rip. Ooh, yeah. Trying my hardest to stay with the best. Flexing Giannis S on my chest. Facing problems down the depths. I'm ready to rip. Coming correct. A fish in the water. Hit my marks. Hooking its head. Indian honest. Wearing my Hans and strapped in its harness. Ready to rip. Hey, I jump on that track. Ready to roll. Ready to rip. Ready to reach. Place my bets. Hey, you never know when playing on hopes what you could achieve. Making the goal, peace with the soul, don't matter the bottle with what you believe. Cause if I'm taking it all in, the calling is hardened with nothing that's harder than free.
Get
Not
no
giving up,
hope.
though. Don't trip, gotta
What's
go.
happening?
Take a slip, make a pass, a little low. Put it down the gas for show. Let it pass on the grass for the opo. Got first, never last for the oh no. To the pass,
The
to the glass,
lights
to the
are
oh
on.
Cause I'm gonna pass all you cowards with ease. And when them speeding
400
demons
pounds
come,
anymore.
we don't feast with the beast and the evil hunting lust. Burn your cheeks when I speak with my real passion, love. Turning all your
That's what these people in the LA riots say. We would just talk about outdoor fireworks. No, we can't have fireworks. No. Look, just like that. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. On the screen, fireworks are over there. Oh, there's a white man. We can't be showing the white man. Oh no. We got the whole crew here. What is the chat doing? I need lights in the chat. Do we have lights in the chat? We do have lights in the chat. Look at that. It works.
It does work.
The Chaz, hey, no need to worry about high limit or will outlaw. Anthony Macri is getting hot and gonna cash in. Back to the music. You're an idiot. Anyway. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, live post-race. Post-race. I think it is post-race.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know because the Michelob has been flowing, ladies and gentlemen. The Michelob has been flowing. Hold on, we'll see if we can get this. We're trying to do this threesome in the right way. Is that the right way to say it?
That is the right way to say it.
I mean, I'm trying to say it. I mean, we have a female viewing audience tonight. We have
do.
multiple.
We got a hottie in the house.
Oh no, we got Angel coming in to put the oh.
I'm coming to feed the dog.
Oh, she's coming to feed the dogs. Horrible people. Horrible people. Where do you get those people? They're feeding the dogs instead
Look
of
at
getting...
him. Look at him sliding.
So happy.
He's just got like.
Oh, dude, he's drooling popcorn. What is going on?
Hey, he's happy.
That's crazy.
Oh,
He's a little
God.
lazy one. We're just gonna give it to him. These two are little moochies.
If we could only have that same luck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're drooling. Us men are drooling in the world, and they just give it to us. When did that quit happening, Sean?
About 17 years old.
Oh my God! We told the truth here. So we are live in the Continental. We called this the Continental.
This?
Yes.
Nice.
Do you know where that comes from?
I don't.
John Wick.
I unfortunately, and being a movie maker, I have not seen any of the John Wicks.
Well, and that's fine. Because what happens is, and I tell people this all the time, you get so, there's two types of people in the world. There's watchers and there's doers.
Facts.
And you are either consuming your life with watching something happen, or you're consuming your life with doing what people watch.
Facts.
So, I mean, I get that 100%. You know, there's
Yeah.
people in the grandstands watching the race, and there's people actually racing. And there's probably a divide in there where you're a part of what they're watching. And you are a part of what they watch. What are you? It looks like you're a late model fan. He comes from, you know, same area as Davenport, probably somewhere there in the southeast based on your attire.
No.
Georgia, Alabama,
Nope.
something like that.
Nothing like that. I'm a Cali West Coast boy, and honestly, I'm a sprint car guy. But I will say that the baddest machine on dirt, besides a 410 wing sprint car, is definitely a super late model.
What?
I'm sorry, like
Not even a non-wing.
non-wings are good, they are, but there's just not enough.
Forward drive.
No, there's not enough talent across the board in the country to where no matter where you go and watch late model racing, even from the mid-level to the top level,
There's 12 David Gravels.
it's a banger everywhere you go. And
I
every
try to
race
tell
you go.
people this all the time. That's the difference between late model racing and sprint car racing is the depth. The
Absolutely.
depth is just incredible. Incredible in late model racing.
It is.
I mean, I feel like most of your top level teams in sprint car racing are the ones who can afford to be top level. When you go into that late model industry, though, like the Dream, 100 entries. Every one of them 100 fucking entries are spending just as much money as Jonathan Davenport.
Yep. Facts.
But in the sprint car world, how many people are spending the same amount of money as KKR or Todd Query? Maybe 6 others?
On tour or just in the
general
country?
race teams.
I mean, it depends on the region you're in, but yeah.
The resources.
Yeah, I would say less than 25%.
Right. So when you go to a Knoxville Nationals, for instance, there's 100 entries. I am willing to say there's maybe 25 cars with the same funding.
Nationals,
Maybe.
I would say nationals, you're probably looking more at 50 to 60 of the 100. Because here's the deal. Even mid-level teams will build a car just for Knoxville, right? So they will sock money away or they will put resources towards putting together a car that could at least go make the show on Saturday night at the Nationals. So I think more teams do that than maybe we're given credit for. But on a normal basis, I agree 100%. In the late model world, even the mid-level guys got a fucking stacker that goes out the pit area and 4 cars. And I mean, it's real hard to cry poor in the late model world when the local guy rolls up in a $500,000 hauler with the best of the best equipment known to man to run a local show for $2,500.
Right. Well, and
that's the late model
that's
world
huge.
all over.
Well, and I would say, I know this show's starting differently than we thought, but that's good conversation.
Yeah.
I would say that the money makes more of a difference in a sprint car operation.
In what way? What do you mean?
I'm
I'm not disagreeing,
Well,
just-
I think that if you can afford a Charlie Garrett or a Morrison or a special Kistler or a special engine package, I've heard it from Danny Lasowski's mouth. He already knows who's going to be in the A-Main at Knoxville. When he's watching qualifying, and there's certain cars that come off of 4 down the front straightaway, and by the fucking flag stand, it does this.
Yeah, they call it.
But
Same with Williams Grove.
Well,
if your tongue's hanging out by the flag stand, it is going to be a long fucking night.
and that's what I mean. If you don't have the money, you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
You're not going to compete to win that race.
Yeah.
Ever. Late model racing, that's not the case.
No.
The motor packages, we had Tim McCready on the show. They have different motor packages, different weights. You know, bigger cubic inches, smaller cubic inches. It matters on the track shape. I think technology-wise, you need to be on your game. But when you get into technology, that's when it turns over to the crew chiefs, the setup guy, whoever's doing whatever, XYZ on the car to get your forward drive to maintain a race for 100 laps. That's not funding based. But to make sure that fucking nose stays up, that's funding.
Yeah. I would say...
I think you don't need as much money in the late model world to win a big race, is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
as you do in the sprint. The money goes farther in the sprint car world.
It does, well, I'll agree with you in this way. In the sprint car world, it's not called chassis sports. It's called motorsports. And the reason why that is because the guys like Ricky Warner who know how to tune a motor just as well, if not better, than how to set the car up. Everybody's always looking at Ricky Warner's car with Rico when he was with Donnie. Hell, back when he was with Tyler in the 35 Coetta Wallace car.
The blue and pink.
No, the
Fluorescent
silver
red?
car that he won the Come Out Series
okay,
with,
yeah.
Everybody always looked at those cars and like, man, what's Ricky doing on the setup? What shocks? Guys, it's not fucking magic fairy dust that you sprinkle over these cars and one car handles better than the other. But if you don't know how to tune your motor to the surface first and foremost, I don't care what setup you have on that race car. It don't fucking matter. Late models are a little different. I think setup is just as important as the motor. Like the cohesion between the motor running well and the setup being all right over 100 laps makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a car out that's set up perfectly, and I mean pristine, set up perfect, but your motor's not quite right,
In what?
and my car is
in
only...
the sprint car or the
yeah,
late model?
in a sprint
sprint
car. If your sprint car is set up properly, but ain't running right, and my car is fucking strumming down both backstretch, but ain't quite set up right, I'm whooping your ass every
10 out of 10.
Every single time. Period. Sprint cars, motor's way more important because of the aerodynamics.
You're saying in the late model world.
It's not as important. It is important. It is. It's just not as important or as a glaring fact as it is in the sprint car world. One, sprint cars don't run 100 laps. They don't have to have longevity in the setup over time that our late model has to have.
There's not as much strategy.
Not as much. There is, but just I don't think as
Well,
much.
and in 100 laps, it ain't fucking Indy 500 strategy.
Right.
More so, we don't have pit stops. So, a full run.
Well,
A full run is 100 laps.
to be seasoned as a late model driver, to run 100-lap races, you kind of over time get a sense of when it's time to go, when it's time to relax. And I'm not saying sprint car drivers don't have that, but that's, I think, what makes sprint car driving or racing exciting is from the drop of the green flag,
You're on it.
I'm fucking smacking you, I'm hitting you. Like, it's like all bets are off. Like, we got to go now. Late models, I watch 10 different teams change a tire strategically at the Dream this weekend. Not because it blew up, not because it fell off the car, but because Bobby Pierce was like, dude, we're already blistering our tire on lap 7. Yeah. I bet you if we change this thing, I can come back through the field. And goddamn if he didn't almost do it. Not because something happened and they went in and fixed it, because they made a conscientious decision to say, hey, this ain't going to last. And frankly, when it all cycles out with 75 down, we're going to be the one on fresh tires. It was a no-brainer
First
decision.
of all, we warned her on some... GD, don't say that on my show. No, I'm just playing.
The fuck's your problem? No.
That's the biggest difference, though, I think, is Bobby Pierce knows what's under him.
Well, not only that, but...
Jonathan Davenport knows what's under him. The sprint car driver, because he don't have to worry about the car, or he's always on the go.
Well, that's not all sprint car drivers.
I mean,
take Tanner Thorson.
Tanner Thorson
that dude
hold on.
is the hardest working dude in show business,
Hold on.
Mad respect
You
for that
can't
kid.
say that.
Why?
Because he is a unicorn for the industry on the top levels of the sport.
Yeah.
Who else? Name me another.
One other that works on their car.
One other out of how many guys are we talking about
Okay,
right now?
Logan Schuchart. Is
Unicorns.
Prime example of a dude who is involved with, knows as much about, and is strategically a crew chief as well as a driver
Okay.
than anybody I've seen.
You just named 2.
Right.
Out of
I mean, we talking just
You
outlaws?
said 50. 50 who could compete for a national contention win. So you just named 2 out of 50. I don't think there's one fucking late model guy competing nationally that don't know his car.
Right. True. Facts. I will
Period.
say
That's
the
all
late
I'm
model
saying.
guys work on their cars in tandem with the crew way more than sprint car drivers
Right.
do. That's not saying
Does that take a breath of fresh air? I remember last year, I went to sprint car races to begin the year after I got back from Australia. And I went to sprint car races probably 2 months straight. And then I went to a late model race. And when I walked through the pits, it was just like a breath of fresh air. When I saw the guy get out of the fucking car, take the hood off the car, get up under it, and start working on a fucking
Did it make you feel
car.
like you were back in the 80s?
It made me feel like
Yeah.
I was dealing with human beings, not fucking little prancy, little 5 foot, let me go check my Facebook feed real quick while my guys slave away. Because that's a form of elitism. I'm better than y'all. Y'all go do the shit work. Where I feel, this is my opinion, once again,
Copy.
you can disagree. And he's going to disagree with me because I'm fat and white. But impact signs and awnings.
I can disagree with him because I'm Brian Brown.
No,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah, you loved it. You loved it.
I did love it. I did love it. I love Brian. I think he's
I'm only turning this way so the crew will show. What I'm saying, though, is I feel like that's a form of elitism. I lose respect, personally, when I see a driver get out of a sprint car and walk in his fucking trailer and 3 other guys go out there and bust their fucking ass. And he just sits there.
Well,
That's why I do have respect for Danny Dietrich, although you saw the case, Danny's a guy who will work on his shit.
all day long. I've filmed it with my own
I mean,
2 eyes.
and Logan and Tanner Thorson, even though he can be a douchebag every now and then, he'll tell you straight up, and I respect him. Even though Tanner ain't been mean to me, I've seen some sides of Tanner, and I think that's the frustration. What I'm explaining.
Listen, when I first met Tanner, and he can attest to this, I met him at his car owner's shop. And
was that the Tri-C?
no, that was before that.
What was it?
I don't even want to
You
say.
know the history. You're the Placerville man.
I
You're the Gold Rush.
He used to race for a team owned by Richie Rich, the 88 car. Tyler Walker also drove that car after
Which
Thorson.
one is this? I'm
The
trying.
green and black. And
I
back
want to look it up and almost
back then, Tanner was a little full of himself, right?
because he's from Nevada.
Right, but he was hanging out in Sacramento because
Right.
he was. Anyways, long story short, we had a argument. I wanted to choke him the fuck out, but since then, I got to tell you, because I've seen that kid come from when he was in go-karts all the way to where he is now.
he's
There is not a harder working,
Work for it
more
all.
innovative dude, I think, in all the sprint car racing than Tanner Thorson to literally start and build your own team
Mm-hmm.
to go run the Chili Bowl and win it and be competitive in the era of the Coons. Everybody forgets in 2015-16, Tanner Thorson is the next Kyle Larson winning the USAC championship. He then went to
He was hoodwinked.
he then went to the K&N East, just like Larson, just like Rico did, but he didn't get to get in the fastest go-kart at the go-kart track. He had to get in Ward Burton's third best. And
Yeah.
so they basically wrote him off like he didn't have talent. And the shitty thing about it is, me personally, I think Tanner Thorson has every bit as much talent as the top levels of NASCAR.
That's Kyle.
Kyle's...
He's beat him on his own playing field. The Chili Bowl in his car that he built.
Right. But I could also say that a lot of people beat the Boston Celtics. They still have more championships than anybody else.
Look,
Look,
hold on. Stats in racing is not stats. As
what I'm
stick and
saying
ball.
is he might have beat Larson on a given night, but overall there is. And I know I'm going to sound like a fanboy, because I'm not really a huge Kyle Larson fan. I'm not, but I'm also not an idiot. I know how to do the math. That dude is one of the greatest dirt track racers of all time.
I don't deny
one
that.
of.
I don't deny that. I
One
said that
of.
several times.
Now, when people start calling him the GOAT,
Okay, yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Is he one of the best drivers of all time?
He's one of the top 5 of all time.
Okay.
Period.
There's no. I said that, right?
Right,
I
right.
said he's one of the greatest of all time.
One
But
of.
I also say
But
he's.
there are a lot of one-ofs.
Here's what I say. I know this is spurring. This is great.
Plus, Kyle Larson is not doing in a sprint car. What if Kyle Larson ran in the same exact car, in the same exact circumstance against guys like Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell and Stevie Smith and Joey Saldana, I'm sorry, guys, it's not the same now. And
What do you mean?
What do I mean? I mean, everybody wants to talk about how sprint car racing is the most competitive it's ever been. The fuck?
No.
Whoa, come
It
on.
is.
You got to come sit over here. Come on. We got an angel in the building.
Guys, the original goat of this experiment would have ate Kyle Larson up and shit.
Well, no, I'm not saying that.
Oh, we need her over here.
No, no,
right
no,
now.
no,
Just
stop.
give me a beer.
Stop.
Hold on. No, bring. Come on.
Good.
I'm not
Hydrate,
saying
please.
that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is he wouldn't be as dominant. He would be one of the guys, but again, he would be one of the guys, not the guy. Because I'm sorry, there's a dude named Steve Kinzer who, even if Kyle Larson were to win 10 championships in a row, would still need to do that for the next 2 decades in a row
Right.
to even tie him. So let's not have the conversation about
Do you
Kyle
think
Larson.
Donnie feels that way?
I think Donnie, again, with his 10 championships, would still have to do that consistently, that good, putting up 30-win seasons for the next 10 years to even come close.
Get a beer as I make my statement, if you will, please, for me.
You need a beer?
Yes.
I got a beer.
I need one.
Okay,
please.
you need one. Did you need one?
No.
This statement right here. Some people would consider Donnie.
My statement?
Some people would consider. I want you to respond to this statement. Some people would consider.
Did
He
you
already
need
got.
one?
He got it. He's got a code backup for everybody if we need it. Oh,
You need
better
one,
sit
baby.
down. Sit down with this. Sit down with this. That dog.
You
don't
can at
need
least
shit.
sneak in right
that
here.
dog
Just
don't. Briggs,
Don't
come
overtalk
here.
us.
That dog's tired.
That dog
I
don't.
ran out of popcorn.
Oh
Oh,
well.
fuck.
Some people would consider, have said, made statements, Donnie Schatz's 10 championships was harder to obtain. Back to what you said, sprint car racing's more competitive than ever. They would say that Donnie Schatz's 10 championships, what was it, 11 Knoxville Nationals now? I think it's 11, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were harder to obtain in his era. It's comparable. You're saying it's not.
It's not.
Why?
Because you do not have the dominant talents that you had back then. No offense.
Well, who were the other?
No offense, but three quarters of the big teams that have guys in them, they're not in there because they're talented. They're in there because they either can bring money, or they're in there because they knew somebody. Like these guys, these team owners aren't going out and saying, "I want to win a championship, so I'm going to put that guy in my car." Maybe 3 or 4. David Gravel is probably one of the minor exceptions to that rule, to where Todd Queering put him in there because he knows he can win
Do you
championships.
think that should be more credit to Todd?
What do you mean?
Because Todd, and I shouldn't be giving him too much credit because we have our issues, but Todd is one of the few car owners that are out there saying, "I want to put the best car on the track.
The
I
best
wanna
driver
put
in the
best
car.
I want to put the best crew chief,
Yes.
the best tire."
Do I think that that's indicative
That's-
of the way
that's
Todd
more-
thinks? Yes, Todd is a results-oriented person. And how about this? Todd's a nice guy. He does well for his guys. He takes care of them. Cody and those guys don't have to want for anything. He wouldn't be doing that if you guys were running 15th in the fucking A main or in the B main every night. He would say, "You know what, guys? Thanks, but good luck. I know you'll land on your feet." And he'd go find the people that he needs to go win races. I mean,
Well, but all I'm saying is that's more what you're trying to credit Gravel. It seemed like on Gravel has this little sparkle that made him one of those types of guys who is making it on performance.
mm-hmm.
But honestly, whatever I feel about Todd Queering, I say that's more of a Todd Queering sparkle. I say that's more.
You're saying that's
Todd
more of a credit to Todd?
Yes.
Okay, I can
Because-
agree with that. What I'm saying is the unique circumstance of I'm a car owner. You have talent. I'm going to put you in my car because as a car owner, I just want to win races.
And
Well-
that's more. What I'm saying is that's more of the light and the dark.
Okay, I mean, we're saying
Than
the
a
same
David
thing a
Gravel.
different way, but yes.
Yeah, that's more of a rarity.
Yeah. What's anybody in the chat think?
Oh no, I don't know if the chat's paying attention. Are they paying attention,
Of course
Sean?
they are.
What are they saying? Oh, we still have the lights going in the chat. Oh God. I love high limit. Oh God, they're on the high limit. You said they were talking, Sean, about our subject matter.
Well,
They're not.
Kind of, sort of.
Oh god. But I think where we were going was good. We and even Clyde Knipp, who
Good dude,
worked
man.
for Jason, amazing.
Fucking
Prime
love that
Composite
dude.
Innovations. He's a sponsor of the show.
Go support Prime. Support those who support
We're
us.
trying to figure out how to build carbon parts for late models, but they don't need them.
Well, no, how would they look fucking beating them with a hammer? That's all they do is beat with shit up
Well,
with a
but you-
hammer.
I
mean,
think you could integrate some parts, carbon, lighten up here, lighten
listen,
up
if
there.
late model guys didn't have sheet metal to straighten, they'd go fucking crazy because that's all they do for 12 hours a
Well,
day.
and
in
you
the pin
hear
area.
the winners saying, I love my sheet metal sponsor, sheet metal,
Yeah.
aluminum and
Yeah.
whatever they
So
say.
I say let those dudes just keep hammering
Well,
away.
but back to the point, even Clyde Knipp, who has had issues with some people in that organization to the point of physical assault, he even says
I think it was
we need more Todd Querings in the sport. And I think when he says that, he's speaking to what we're talking about. We need guys, and this is the problem.
See, I disagree.
We don't need more Todd Querings in the sport.
No, we need more ways to make this a viable business model for corporate America to get involved so that we don't need to rely on the 10 rich dudes who don't mind losing money on sprint car racing to come in and save the day all the time.
Okay, so
This is where
I agree with
If
you.
this were
This
a
is where
business,
I agree
if
with
this
you
were a
guys.
Fortune 500 business, they would call this insolvency that you just haven't recognized yet. Meaning you're already out of business. You just have enough capital to keep
This
yourself
is
going
why
for.
Ty Gibbs calls it a fucking hobby. What you're talking about.
I'm just saying, without rich car owners who are willing to lose money, where are we at?
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Right.
And the second that
This is
political
already-
turmoil or the next president who gets,
Right.
all you hear about is how, well, people don't want to spend money right now because what's going on politically or because with tariffs or what's going to happen when the money gets to where these guys are like, look, man, losing money was fun, but it just ain't cool anymore. So until this sport comes up with a way where we could actually
viable.
at least break even.
Right.
They ain't gonna be in it no more.
Well, and you've been listening to me since I stepped on the
So
scene.
what happens that day when all those guys, or a majority of them, what happens when the Dennis Ross and the Todd Querings and the Marshalls of the world decide that they're done burning money in the fucking driveway?
But this is also why the industry.
It scares me because I love our business and we need to get it back to a viability to where the Pennzoils and the this and the that's and look, NOS, like them or love them, hate them, whatever. They have literally kind of helped keep Dirt Track
They've been the fucking wheelchair.
up here over the last 5 years. Lauren and her team have done such an incredible job with making our sport
Which Lauren
relevant.
is the.
She's the marketing director for NOS.
Okay.
And she's hard-nosed, man. She is tough as nails. I will give her that. But she's really good at what she does. And she understands the monster model.
Big
which is,
Tyler Courtney
we don't
fan.
sell beverages. We sell culture. And why people are enjoying the culture that we build, they grab a NOS or a Monster.
Yeah.
That's their business model. They sell culture. They sell experience. That's why there's a demo going on at everything that has Monster branding. The brand activation model for Monster is on a Red Bull level. Now, Red Bull wrote the book. Let's be real. Red Bull's run the energy drink game
And they
since
still
the
push
90s.
it. And they still push it.
Well, I mean, there's no comparison. Red Bull is like galactic. Monster is pretty much in America. They've got some international footprint, but Red Bull is like on Mars and shit. I mean,
Yeah,
like
you're basically you're comparing Ferrari to Ford.
correct.
Although that used to be a battle.
Right. Well, it still is. I mean, they still battle over market share, I'm sure,
Yeah,
especially
but
in the
they
States.
don't battle for that ego.
Right.
The unfortunate part about human beings is that we do battle over ego when it comes to these brands.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
But
really.
that's why it's important. If you're a brand that takes yourself serious, you need to stop selling things and you need to start building culture
to win.
to win. If your goal is to win long term, and you need to say, well, if I spend $1 now, how do I make it instantly? You ain't gonna make it. you at least you might make it, but you're not going to be one of the prolific companies that people talk about.
You sound like sprint car racing when you talk like that.
Why?
Because it sounds so similar to their I continue to call it ignorance on the long game, and I think because of what.
So you're agreeing with what I'm saying? That
Yeah, but I think that's why the sport is so short-sighted. Because the short-sighted idea is what's going to happen when fucking Rod gets a. What are we going to do without Todd? The long term is what we're describing. The long term is understanding how to win.
the war, not just a
Not
battle.
a battle.
Yeah, no. I agree.
And these people, you know how it works. There's a certain amount of people. There's probably only fucking, like, let's be honest. There's like 15 people tops that control this industry.
100%.
And those 15 people have found a way to take their passion and love, which all of them have, and made a living off of it. And their living is based on, what are we going to do when Russ gone? What are we going to do when Todd quits? Because that's how they're paying their mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're getting down the road. That's how their hotels are paid.
Well,
So when we have 15 people dictating the industry with the short-sightedness based on the... This is why they're blinded. They're blinded by the genetic tendencies of all humans. Survival.
So
And they're scared.
who do you think is doing it better? High Limit or World of Outlaws on that front? I have my opinion, but
As far as having
the-
foresight,
yeah, the long game, the vision, you know, like companies aren't built and successful overnight, or everyone would have one,
right?
right? So you have to invest not just money, time, effort, sweat equity, culture building, brand awareness, brand activation. Like you have to turn yourself into
A machine.
yeah, like Supercross, like UFC, like any other sports property who's literally laid out the blueprint for you guys for the last 30 years, and you just haven't decided to turn it on and go, oh, so that's how a successful sports property becomes a Goliath over a 12-year period. Why don't we just do what they did? Or you could sit there and say, well, we're selling out every night everywhere we go, so why fix it? I'll tell you why. Because your average fan is over 41 years old. Your guys like Donnie Schatz and your Roths and your kind of marquee staple, these guys aren't going to be around forever.
Right.
And if we don't do something to replenish why people love sprint car racing versus just the ones who are already going anyway, I had a conversation with, and I'm not going to say who it was, but I had a conversation with somebody who I laid out a brief to them. I laid out a proposal for a 3-year plan to build a doc series, kind of like Flo is doing.
A plan to make them bigger than they are.
A plan to actually give the drivers a platform to stand on besides themselves.
And, well,
If your marketing model is, well, I hope every one of these dudes in here have a guy running around with a DSLR making shitty content so we don't have to do it. That's not a business
Hold
model.
on. Let me stop you
That's
real
not a
quick.
business model.
Let me just respond, because I think you have a good point. I'm not trying to cut you off or ruin your flow here. This fucking late model guy. You're trying to cut me off like you're a Longhorn. I'm about to stinger chassis your ass.
Oh
But here's
my
what I'm
God.
saying.
Well, I'm about to hyper your ass.
All right, Infinity. Anyway, all right, 10J. Here's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Hey, Huckleberry, your mouth shut. All right, here we go.
I love Jared Huckleberry,
He's a
but
good guy.
I am fucking a D1 guy.
Oh my God,
Jake's my guy.
Dicely.
Driven all the way.
Driven all day,
God.
baby.
Anyway, okay, yeah, we know why. Anyway, I had an argument with the new All-Star promoter, Richard Farmer.
Is All Stars a thing again? I'm
hold on,
kidding.
don't ruin my train of thought. But no, this goes across the board. He brought up, I think Tanner Holmes is great. He's awesome. Look what he's done. I said, Tanner Holmeses of the world are an example of the failed promotership of dirt track racing.
Correct.
Why are you?
He's the most glaring example.
Hold on. Tanner. I say when I want to say Holmes, I say Thorson because I know who's a better driver. No offense, Tanner. And
That was pretty fucking.
It's true. Because Tanner Thorson should be bigger than Tanner Holmes.
Absolutely.
But he's not because the promoters have failed the drivers.
Well, because there's a difference between managing and promoting, and the promoters of today have forgotten the difference.
Promoters are not supposed to be worried about getting cars to the track. They're not supposed to be worried about how much it pays to win the race. They're not supposed to be doing these things. Those are financial managers.
Mm-hmm.
Promoters are supposed to be promoting their product. And I told him this the same. And this is so fucking true. I hope y'all listen, you bitch. Well, when I said you bitch, I'm talking to every one of you who think you're a promoter. Taylor Swift plays the same guitar as the bitch down the street at your bar.
Mm-hmm.
When you're promoting something, whether it's the World of Outlaws or High Limit or Fremont Speedway or Chico or whatever, you need to start looking at yourself as a venue.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Dollar Speedway is the Wells Fargo Arena. A sprint car this weekend at Silver Dollar is guitars and drums. Who's playing them? That's the person. That's the difference. That's the.
What up, Andy?
Yeah, I'm just saying. But yeah.
That's my dog.
The Shark and Sean Becker. That's what's gonna get people. No, my point is though, your fucking selling point to get people to fill your venue is the stars playing the instrument.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
I know I'm going to do a long soliloquy about this, but that is the difference. The difference is all these other industries learn what sells. NFL ain't promoting the Kansas City Chiefs. They're promoting Patrick Mahomes. The NBA wasn't promoting Nike shoes or the Chicago Bulls. They promoted Michael Jordan. Tanner Holmes's and all these people that have had to do it on their own to become a big deal is a failureship for the promoters of this industry recognizing what their job actually fucking is.
But that's my point. So if I'm a team owner and we have our owners meeting at the end of the year, the only question not being asked is, well, what are you as a series doing to help promote us as a team and as our drivers to help entice corporate America to want to be involved in what we're doing? What are you doing?
Well,
why are we having to promote ourselves? Can you imagine if UFC fighters had to promote themselves?
That's about as crazy as we're dealing with right now.
Like, Dana White would have a heart attack if he wasn't in control of making his superstars. Why? Because he knows how to do it better than anybody. And he sells superstars.
Right.
He doesn't sell just good fights. He sells good fights between superstars. And that's the model.
He understands that the fighters are going to build his brand.
But he has to make them superstars, which is why their content is first class at all times. They put as much money into production, filming, and telling the stories of their athletes as they do the actual events, if not more sometimes. Their budgets are insanity. Why? Because you feel like you know that fighter all the way up until the fight. You know his twisted ankle, how his wife was bitching at him, his kids had measles, his Lambo got run into.
How Caitlyn called Chaz a bit, or, got in my face, I called her a bitch. Continue.
All the way up until the fight. And then they say, but if you want to see how it ends, because now you feel like you know this person. It's only $79.95.
Yeah, it's only $80.
And you wouldn't dare read a book for 5 weeks and for $70 to turn that last page and see how it ends. You wouldn't dare not pay that. You're almost.
Now, devil's advocate is.
You're almost droned out to do it.
Devil's advocate is, our race is every week. We're on Tuesdays.
Okay.
How are we supposed to build anything up when we're fucking racing every single day?
Content. Content is king. Your guys are only going to be as big as superstars as you make them.
Right.
If you're not screaming their name, why the fuck would anybody else?
Right.
Like I said, and this is nothing against Brad, or Ginger Kitty as you call him, but bro, you're the 6-time national sprint car champion. And you couldn't walk into a Napa from here to New York City to Moscow. No one knows who you are. Not a Napa employee, not the dude standing next to you trying to get an alternator. No one. Whose fault is that? Is that Napa's fault? Is that your fault? Or is that you race in a series, or used to,
that didn't promote you
that doesn't
properly.
promote you as the next coming of Christ with a fucking steering wheel in his hand?
Yeah.
Period.
Well, and this is why I was so on the high limit side when they wanted to impede into the scenario. I said, if football isn't relevant, are we going to blame football or are we going to blame the NFL, the representative brand of the industry?
Right. Because each one of those teams is its own business.
Well,
yeah.
if stock car racing's not big, are we going to blame stock car racing or NASCAR? The representative brand is responsible for the expansion of its representative industry.
Of course,
so,
because the athletes will come and go.
Well, exactly. So I said from the beginning, let's see what High Limit does. Because I got, personally, in the industry since 2012 when I jumped into it, experience on how I go to Walmart down the street, quarter mile from the racetrack, and nobody knows what a sprint car is.
It's crazy.
Who's responsible for that? The World of Outlaws. Because you are supposed to be the one who is supposed to push this brand of motorsport to the masses. So when High Limit came along, I said, well, let's see what Brad can do. Let's see what Kyle can do. Because I have experience that these are failures. This brand don't get it done.
Right.
If maybe this brand can step up and lead the industry into a proper direction and some relevancy, let's see. So, I definitely think 100% that the only, they say there's this surge in sprint car racing over the last year or two or whatever. Whose fault is that? Is it the World of Outlaws' fault it got big all of a sudden, or got relevant, or whatever?
But it didn't. Everybody always says that.
It is a little, let's just say it's 2% bigger, because it's obviously not big as we need it to be. But I will say, I feel like, maybe this is my emotions taking over, it has got a tick more interesting. Even for the sprint car fan.
Right.
It's got a tick more, because it was fucking boring. World of Outlaws every year, let's wait for Eldor, Kings Royal, Knoxville, and then whatever happens, fucking happens. At least for the sprint car fan and potentially newer people, it's got kind of more like what's going on there because of this High Limit influx. And then you have Flo doing some amazing content. And
that's what it takes. And
well,
so they already know the business
But that's
model.
Michael Rigsby's fault.
Well, not just Michael Rigsby.
Well,
Michael
Rigsby-
Rigsby's a huge influence on that because him and his Dirt on Dirt, original Dirt on Dirters,
Well, because he's worked
are
his
the
way
best
up.
in the fucking business.
He's worked
There's
his
not
way
a better
up.
broadcast in all of motorsports.
Who
I
on
think.
the Dirt Vision side has went the fucking Michael Rigsby route and dug theirself from a van to where they are?
I can't speak to what like Carter's story is, or Ted Johnson, or even like Brian.
Well, Ted
Dunlap or
Johnson.
Tom Deary. but
No. Ted Johnson might be comparable, but I mean, all these other white suit guys. Who's actually dug?
Well, my question is, where's all your fucking? Where's the Cowboys at? Like take some goddamn risks. Sorry, I used the GD.
No, you're fine. I'm just fucking with you.
Take some risks, man. Throw some spaghetti up against the wall. See what fucking sticks. I don't know. Do something besides the same thing every single year. Every single year. Like, it's just the same. And it's getting to a point where the average race fans like, look, I love watching dirt sprint cars. I'm going to watch them every night. Great. That's cool. You make up 1% of sports fans in all of America.
Not even that.
Not even that.
Not even that.
Not even that. When in the 90s, it was as big a deal to win a World of Outlaw or USAC race as it was to win NASCAR, if not even bigger. It was as big as Indy. Parnelli Jones, Mario Andretti, these guys left Indy to hurry up and get to Ascot.
Not because they wanted to give back to dirt.
No, because
that's what they're projected as.
But
now.
because to win at Ascot was as big a deal, if not bigger, than to win in their Indy car wherever it was at that weekend.
Right. Well, and I said this, 1984.
That's why.
1984 Kings Royal, 50,000 to win.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean.
1980.
Well, the Earl Bulks of the world who were taking the risks.
1984 Talladega 500. Dale Senior won it.
Mm-hmm.
47.5.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we doing here?
People, oh, it's a pipe dream. We'll never get back there. These are what the media types say. But these are the losers, in my opinion. That's a loser mentality. We can't do that. We got to worry about sucking this dick and sucking that dick, get the sponsorship, and just survive and pay the mortgage next week.
Well, how about
these
this?
aren't home run hitters. These are losers who think that way. If you don't project and think the way you think of, here's what's wrong, here's how things don't work, here's how things do work, and you say, we can't make it work like it did, that's a loser mentality.
But again, it's kind of the it's kind of the chili bowl approach. As long as they sell out, why would they change anything? Why would they ever change anything?
That's the Knoxville Nationals.
And as long as the World of Outlaws sell out everywhere they go, every year, and I kind of feel like this is a WWE thing, but every time, this is the biggest crowd in such and such. What, they fucking add seats? Because I got news for you. This place has been sold out for fucking 10 years, and as long as they didn't add a single seat, how the hell is there more in attendance tonight than before? It's cool to say, but the reality is this sport has not grown at all.
No.
At all. And anyone who
and
says
the
any
relevancy
different
is tanked.
well,
The
anybody says any
relevancy
different,
is a whole other word than what you're describing. Relevancy is different than attendance. Relevancy is when I go to Walmart, do they know what I'm talking about?
well, how about this? If the sport was growing and it was so just where you go for talent, then why do the guys in the World of Outlaws stay there for their whole career? Who was the last World of Outlaw guy that they were like, dude, you know what? You got fucking talent. You need to be in my NASCAR car on Sundays.
But
racing on Sunday.
The sport
Just doesn't happen. It does not happen.
But here's the difference. The days we're talking about, 1984 Steve Kinzer,
Mm-hmm.
you're up there with, you're not looked at as this stepping stone.
No, I know.
Oh, but you're looked at
when
you're
Steve,
doing something.
Listen, when Steve Kinzer went from his sprint car to the NASCAR car that he was in, it was just as cool and important and big a deal to drive that sprint car on Saturday night as it was to drive that NASCAR
That's why
on
he
Sunday.
went back. He
Right.
said, fuck this.
I can make more money doing. I make more money in T-shirts in a weekend than
Well,
I
and I
could
can get my
win a
necks up
race.
just as much too. You know, I mean, it's true. I've been to.
I don't
Quincy
look. I
Island.
don't claim to have all the answers because it's real easy to say what's wrong, and not give any ulterior way to fix it. I like to be objective. All I know is try something. Try a little bit more presentation at your shows. Okay.
Be more Australian.
Yes, we've all seen the 4 wide. We get it. It's a rite of passage.
I go to Perth. When I was in Perth, I go to downtown nightclubs. I'm a little jiggy with it, if you know what I'm saying. And
what did he do to you? What was his name?
no.
What was his name?
No. Hold on, we need her over here. Come on, you have to include. I go to.
Come in a minute.
I go to.
What's going on in the
She's
chat?
gonna come in a minute.
Not
I mean,
much.
you got to handle this. I can't. No, I'm just kidding. I go to Scarborough, which is honestly like top 5 beach nightclub venue areas in the world. It's right there on one of the best beaches in the
Gold
world.
Coast.
Yeah. Well, no, not Gold Coast. It's not. It's the other side, Perth. But
That's the western side, right?
yes. So Gold Coast is the eastern side.
Okay.
It's very nice too. But I go into this nightclub. I'm talking some shit. And go into the little, they got the dancing in the middle and all the 2 music. I rub my penis on a girl. We go off to the side. We start talking. And
That's assault, brother.
no, that's called game, sir.
Oh.
But anyway, I get to talking to this girl, and I'm like, she's like, why are you here, or however they say it. And I'm like, oh, I'm here for the racetrack, Perth Motorplex. I'm hanging out with this guy, Callum Williamson. She goes, Callum Williamson? Really?
Yeah.
And I go, you've heard of the sprint cars
Yeah.
and the dirt track? And they go, oh my God, I want to bang Callum. And he's married. There's a Snapchat. I have this. I could play it, but I don't want to play
That's
it. But,
because sprint car racing in Australia is as big a deal as baseball is to
yeah,
us.
they don't live under a NASCAR shadow.
Yeah.
So,
V8 supercars are not going to be cooler than fucking
well, it's
sprint
road
cars.
racing.
Yeah.
It's an oval road thing.
Yeah.
You know, the top thing in Australia road racing, this style of
Yeah.
motorsport, is V8 supercar. The top style of oval,
Sprint cars.
yeah, that's the number one. That's the kumbaya. So that's why I'm in a fucking nightclub at Scarborough with this fucking 10, you know, trying to, you know, whittle myself in there to get that dual citizenship.
In there with a
you know
10
what I'm
rubbing
saying?
his... In
I'm
there
trying-
as a
I'm
10
trying-
rubbing his 3
I'm trying
against
to
the
get.
lid.
I'm trying to get that dual citizenship, you know, and I'm ready to plant the seed. I'm just saying, but
Like an idea or like procreal?
Procreal. I don't think our audience in America could understand that. Maybe the Australian one would,
All right.
or Australian one would. But she like made a Snapchat of how I love you, Callum, and want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are stars.
So, equated to this,
That's how sprint car racing used to be.
it used to be, but now it's like all the cool kids that go to a really small school.
Mm-hmm.
And so every day when they walk in, they're treated like gods
Yeah.
and they're cool. But when they leave that high school, couldn't nobody give 2 fucks who they are. They know me as much as they know fucking Sheldon or any of the rest. Just walking
It's
in
like
general
being
public.
it's like being a really good wrestler in Iowa. No one really cares.
Right, because everybody's a good wrestler in Iowa.
Right.
Like,
Who cares? It's a small niche community.
so, like I said, I don't claim to have all the answers. I can tell you that if you look at other sports properties and other big companies like Nike and Under Armour and any brand that's just exploded into the stratosphere, they all did it with one basic formula. And that was content. Nike did not sell 1 million shoes.
Stories.
Nike didn't sell 1 million shoes and then decide to start investing in fucking marketing and cool ad campaigns
Right.
and driven type campaigns where they're empowering you. They don't sell shoes, they sell what you do in those shoes.
Right.
They've known that since the beginning. So these teams or drivers or promoters or just whoever who thinks, well, I got to get the sponsors first before I can start investing in marketing that's going to give me the sponsors. Wait, that's a fucking round robin that'll never work.
Chasing the tail.
Period. You have to invest in your place, your venue, make it the place that if I take 3 people that have never been to a race and I take them to your place, you need to blow her panties off, his tank top off, and my hat off. And we all just need to sit back and go, whoa, I don't care how the fucking race goes. We're not missing next week.
Right. And when you say content, it's not just like a car going by. Content is a very
Stories. You
content
have
is a
to-
very broad
Okay,
term
so
in
let me-
today's world.
Then let me hone in on that.
Hold on. Do you want to explain and respond to the chat? I have to pee real
Yeah,
quick.
let's do it.
Okay, hold on.
Who's in the chat?
We're about to get very interesting here. Jesse is back here. You can see the chat on the screen, kind of, if you have good 2020 Deathridge optician vision. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of do, but I don't. And that kind of fucking freaks me out, being I'm a filmmaker.
We're trying to get underneath. We're hula hooping. Oh, God, we made it.
Brent Cree says, how are they going to do that without corporate money? Oh, and then we got to add. Oh,
Damn.
damn it.
Fucking ads.
Damn that Castle Kings. All right, you read them off because my fucking vision is...
What are we doing here? 007 RJB. Sell the product to the people. Leave the corporations out.
The problem with that is, as soon as, like I said, these guys are done losing money on this sport, because that's all the team owners really do, then where are we going to be? We're going to need those corporate dollars to keep this sport alive and to make it thrive. That's it. Period. The end. Every time you go to a World of Outlaw race and you count how many haulers are in the pits, understand that at least half of those are a bunch of guys who have money that put someone in their car because they don't mind losing money, because there ain't no way, even if they win, that they are making money. So corporate America has to be involved, or it's kind of an end game overall, period. I hate to say that. I'm a purist as well, but the reality is without big dollars in corporate sponsorship for both the teams and the series and as a whole, we are one or two car owners telling everybody to go fuck themselves because they're done losing money away from not even having a sport.
Well, and Stealing Time says they need to grow, and I agree, both series, sprint car series, they need to grow their fan base. I mean,
100%. But again, so here's a problem. Like I said, like for the World of Outlaws, how do you go to a company that already sells out every venue they go to and convince them that they need to be doing something to make sure that they have that same exact success 5 to 10 years from now, right? I think that's the hard part is, like, if you talk to Brian Carter, which I have before, great dude. I've had great conversations with him. I don't know. I just can't seem to get everyone to understand that there is a 5 to 10 year game here that needs to be played, and that with the fan base being as old as it is now, and without any type of strategy to reach out to the younger generation, what are you going to do in 15 years when all those fans that were kids are now adults and you've been living off of adults buying your tickets?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Well,
It's going to be too late.
And just going back to
The industry will have changed 5 times over from then.
right, and going back, you know, and on that, I mean, with like the Knoxville Nationals, they need to, in my opinion, I think they need to step up their game on the production, because the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6, has been the same. And even though they sell out every year, because it's Knoxville Nationals, you know, and
it's people selling people. People come to the Nationals because it's a good race, but they mostly come because of the people that they get to interact with.
right.
What's the age range of that crowd?
Young.
Knoxville Nationals?
The party crowd, the like culture crowd is young. But I agree.
It's kind of mixed, but it's in my opinion the older crowd, 40 plus.
Yeah. The originals.
Yes.
Like the people who've been coming to Knoxville.
The ones who
forever.
buy the tickets all week.
Yeah.
The ones who have the money to have a camper.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap. That's not an easy investment.
Well, not only that, it's not cheap to camp.
No.
Well, and I guess my point is, you know, Knoxville needs to change it up, make things different, you know, make it more exciting, even though they still have the crowd. But in my opinion, I'm bored with the Knoxville Nationals with the production, honestly.
So, your opinion, I'm just trying to glean this, is that the on-track product is just not enough anymore.
Right.
It's just not enough.
Even for the hardcore sprint car fan.
No, and true. And this is what I'm
Think
saying.
about that, though. That's
to your point,
crazy.
you are 100% correct. To your point. An NFL game is exciting to watch because of the football. But they still blow a bunch of fucking shit up before the game starts, and they fly massive things over, and it is an absolute Barnum and Bailey circus before that first kickoff goes off. That's half the reason why the
But
people
don't you
come.
think that's also because of status?
Well, no, what I'm saying is the production value in a sports venue doesn't always need to be about the sport being played. Sometimes that's even second or third fiddle.
Yeah.
We cannot rely on the on-track product to keep the people coming back. Because guess what? 13 to 20-year-olds don't give a fuck if it's a good race.
Example.
They probably aren't even going to hardly watch the race. They don't know the guys
the-
like you do. What they
the
do
gr-
care about is hot chicks, cold beer, and a spectacular, ridiculously over-the-top show. And if they can have that, and they don't even care what happened.
That
at
they
the
can
race.
bring a Tinder date to. Or
They don't
whatever,
even
and
care what
yeah.
happened at the race. They just know they had a good ass time. This was the spot to be. And when these guys are in town, we ain't gonna miss a motherfucking another one because it's the badass thing to go to.
So 2 things to say on that.
Like, how do you invest non-purist in a purist-based sport?
The greatest example of what you're describing, in my opinion, based on my experiences in life, is PBR.
What about
bull riding?
We
is-
film with PBR all the time, so-
the bull riding is the event I went to was a PBR event.
Mm-hmm.
No one ran 8 seconds. 3-hour event.
Mm-hmm. All buck-offs.
Yeah, boring.
Boring.
The race on the track, for instance, was a joke.
But
it was everything else
Was
that made it like
incredible.
a thing.
But that's my point. They hedge
I even
against.
ran into a 6'2" fucking college basketball player. We fuck later. Okay, sorry. I got too descriptive. But that's where people
Was
were.
he gentle?
No, you bastard. You can't be saying that. We had her on Snapchat. It was a very popular video.
So that you're agreeing with me. My point is.
Yeah, it was everything but the bull riding.
Absolutely. And they do that to hedge against those events that might go a little stale. There's no stale at a UFC event. There's no stale at a PBR event. Even
no
if
stale.
even
Your
if the
point-
game is 6-5, and you're like, dude,
There's no stale
there's-
at a hockey game.
there's
a
3 hours
basketball
I'll never
game.
get back, but the entertainment value of the actual production of the show is fucking dude. Supercross and Monster
Oh god.
have got it fucking
And that is Feld, right?
clocked.
That's Feld Entertainment, correct?
In
Feld.
tandem with Feld. Yes. Yes. Shout out to Jimmy at Feld.
I had an interesting discussion with Feld about 5.5 years ago. Wanted to introduce dirt racing to potentially their dome tour, because they do have like intermediate dirt races. People don't know about it. Some venues will have like a micro show or something.
Right.
And he was just like, it's just not a genre we are interested in pursuing. It doesn't have enough fan numbers to.
And there's also another caveat, because I've also had these same conversations with my contacts at Feld about why they're not involved in.
Because that's a player that would do it right?
Right.
If Bill, the people who do Supercross and Monster Jam, and they do the 4x4s, they do the side-by-sides now too.
They also do Cirque du Soleil, Disney on Ice.
Yeah,
They are masters
I know,
at how
I know,
to put
yeah,
on a show.
Right. If they were able to grab super late models and 410 sprint cars, well, I might have some hope on the sport.
Right.
Because these motherfuckers know how to win.
Well, these motherfuckers know how to put on a show, even if the drivers on the track don't.
They know how to win. And let's be honest, you're sitting here with a Longhorn Factory t-shirt. I still can't fucking believe it.
Why? Horns up, baby.
This
Let's
is-
go.
this is-
Shout
this
out
is-
to my boy Steve Arpin.
This
Let's
man
go.
is from the town that literally hangs them in the middle of the town. The Gold Rush, Placerville.
Hangtown, USA, baby.
There's a reason they call it Hangtown, and we're not going to get into historical reasons.
I'm waiting for them to
I
have
don't
the
want you
fuck
to have-
around or find out nationals.
I don't want you to have a Jason Aldean moment. But this man is from Placerville, USA.
Well, Sacramento, but Placerville is my home track. It's where I grew
That's
up.
where your balls are at.
Yes, sir.
His semen is plastered in Placerville.
I would say more places than Placerville, but yeah, we'll start there.
No, I'm just saying that's where. So I'm just saying, when people ask me, when I was in Perth, for instance, or all these places, what's the best racetrack you ever been to? They think I want to say Eldora or Knoxville. I say Placerville. It's a fucking Gangsterville, USA for sprint car. Fucking, you don't ever go to Placerville and not see a fucking show on the racetrack.
Well, in proximity, there is just something's always fucking cracking.
Well, I know,
Always.
and
And
this
the
is
cushion is Rico tall and hard as a rock. Like when Forsberg gets in there or Sanders and they smack the cushion, sounds like somebody's hitting it with a baseball bat.
it's
They
a
do that
fucking show.
consistently for fucking 30 straight laps.
And there ain't a bad seat in the fucking house. It
Nope.
don't matter where you're at.
It's got a very Coliseum vibe.
It's the Bowman Gray of
Yeah.
sprint car racing. So when we have this fucking guy,
And we just did their commercial. Shout out to Scott and Cammy.
this fucking guy right here, rolling up with this fucking Longhorn Factory team shit
Yeah, let's go.
from Placerville, USA.
Let's go.
He has turned his back on the entire industry. This is funny car. This is worse. than Matt Hagan and Tony Stewart with Funny Car and Top Fuel. You my point.
I knew there was one in there somewhere.
You have an affinity, a love, a passion for this dirt thing.
Yep.
Sprint cars in particular, I think, no matter how much you're representing this Longhorn thing on your chest. Your chest was way bigger when you were a sprint car guy. It's way smaller now.
It's the only way I can fit into a Longhorn shirt.
I'm just saying, you know, out of everything we just described, out of Feld and all these industries, that our visual, and I will fucking die on this hill, the visual, out of all motorsports, all of them, Monster Jam, Supercross, Formula One, NASCAR, all of it, the number one visual entertaining form of motorsports in the world is dirt track. As far as the product, it's dirt track racing.
100%.
There's nothing else close. Period.
Well, all gimmicks are thrown out the door too.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, that is what I mean by this. Even though you've betrayed your semen, we might as well call him transgender at this point. See how good it is? You're laughing. You can't get mad at me.
Well, I mean, sprint cars don't have trannies in them, so why should I?
Oh my God! I know it's a great comeback of the night like that.
I just had to. I couldn't help it.
I'm just saying, like, is it not kind of weird, hocus pocusy, that level of on-stage act
Okay.
is snubbed by those who recognize talent and build it up, Supercross, motor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not fucking weird?
Not really.
First of all, don't you think it should be there? Don't you think it should be there?
It should be.
But then at the same time, everyone else, you know, and me and Tony Stewart talked about this. The degree that dirt track racing is at is 100% organic. I haven't seen a late force-fed, like a late model of sprint car force-fed, like drag racing or IndyCar and that. They're fucking trying to shove that shit down America's throat. And they can get the numbers they barely get. Our shit hasn't been force-fed an ounce. And it has at least, even though it's very small, I do agree, it is at least building. It's growing. But that's because of how good the burger is. Because of how good tasting the product actually is. Why do you think, and this is a question now, why do you think it is that this great tasting product is not being picked up by the conglomerates that control the circus of Rome? Why? Is it because of lack of control?
For the same reason, if this badass chick who's a 10 was dressed down like a 7, and then a 5 was dressed like a 10, on the average, I'm going for the 5 that looks like a 10 because of the way she's dressed versus the 10 that's dressed down to a 5 that's being made to look like it's not as good. You understand? Like, sprint car racing, dirt track racing, we know that the product is a 10.
I think even new people do.
But it's not being shown that way. It's not being, like you said, shoved down people's throats that way.
Presentation.
Whereas other motorsports that might not have as exciting as a product, they dress that bitch up like she's on the motherfucking stroll. All day long down the boulevard, you don't even have a choice. There's somebody, take a car, like they do in Vegas. I mean, like you can't even get away from it.
Promoters.
There is a difference between a manager and a promoter. A manager gets to the track, opens up, make sure there's enough beer.
Make sure we got a good purse.
Make sure we're staffed. That's not promoting. What the Agajanians did at Ascot, what Cappy did in Knoxville, what Earl and now Tony does at Eldora, that's promoting, kids. That's no matter what happens on the track, you got your motherfucking money's worth. Period. Period, period, period. I took her for the first time to Eldora. She loved the racing. It was great. But man, the spectacularness of all the flames and the fireballs, you just felt like you were at like a major league international
Whatever's
soccer
happening
game.
matters.
Yes, everything had severity to it because of how big time the venue was making.
It wasn't because the drunk under the stands told you this race coming up is going to be big.
Correct.
It was because the event showed you.
It's because the event put on an event and not just a race. And if you don't know that there's a difference, you should probably fucking quit.
But then that still goes back to my question. Why does somebody with the ability to presentate, because there's plenty of them. Monster Jam knows how to presentate. Supercross knows how.
You're asking
Why, and I thought maybe this would be High Limit with Flow, but why does something bigger than Flow, which there are some, maybe you can go into the details of how there's probably bigger in Flow than most we know, but why hasn't something saw this? It's so small, it's so little. World Racing Group, I think, was for sale for $70 million 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were severely overvalued.
Well, and that's a peanut to people who really see.
Yeah, but people who have that kind of money aren't going to pay overpriced just because they have the money.
Okay.
Even if you were to break WRG down to every nut and bolt, every pencil, every eraser, even their liquidable assets. If I'm an investor who's looking at a sports property, I have to look at the intrinsic value over 10 years, what it's going to make, how long are we going to lose money before we start making money.
They don't have the passion and the love. They just see it for what it is.
It's a strategic business. This is either makes business sense or it doesn't. It doesn't matter if we get it for cents on the dollar. If it's still going to be a fucking dog with fleas in 10 years, I don't want nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's what the Outlaws are, but that's just how...
You're saying that's what I am.
A dog. We'll just get rid of it.
Okay, fine. Fuck you. Never mind.
What I'm saying to you is the reason why those kind of people haven't gotten involved is, one, the Outlaws have not evolved or High Limit yet. They're still in their infancy, so we'll see. Let's give them time. They seem to kind of be going in the right direction, except I will say that...
They're lifting.
No, they're lacking. Like if I... How about
the same phrase, I think.
They're lacking. I'm just going to be honest here. If I go to a High Limit race, it feels like I'm at a regional show. Not because of the drivers that are there, not because Kyle Larson isn't. It looks like a damn regional show. The banners are tiny. Like they're starting to get better. You need to feel like you are at a massive professional sports venue. When you pay the kind of money and you walk into a High Limit or World of Outlaw race, that place should be spectacularly over the top, ridiculously produced, so the people leave there. If it's a one and only race they go to a year, and they go, holy fuck, dude, that's the thing. If I know we only have $150 this month disposable income to spend on our family entertainment, it's going to be there every year in June when they come back. What are you doing to force that? Yeah, you have the people that already do that every year because they're fans. But what are you doing to entice the people who aren't fans yet, that need that smack in the face to go, dude, I'll never miss that, ever. That, I can miss. I won't ever miss that race again.
And let's be fair here to High Limit.
You're not always going to have a Sheldon there to help sell your race with a spectacular finish. That's not always going to happen.
Don't say Sheldon. Let's be fair here.
Let's be real. The High Banks can live off of his passing 4 cars in 1 lap for the next 10 years. I mean,
here's the problem.
Situation.
There's 2 problems with High Limit. And let's address your problem with High Limit. One.
Well, I don't have a problem with it.
The problem, not or a problem. The a problem that you have is true. At the same time, the Outlaws have the same problem. The exact same problem. Mm-hmm. The only difference is they got a guy who talks 160 miles an hour named Johnny Gibson who fills up every second of the day.
Yeah, I will say that Dirt Vision...
Tony Laporte is good at soliloquies and segmentation with his present,
I love Tony Laporte.
I'm crediting him.
Dude. I'm crediting
him. I'm saying Tony Laporte with his soliloquies and storytellings and segues into other emotions and all that. That's what's saving High Limit, in my opinion, with their downtime. It's Tony Laporte. I think Chase Rodman's good-ish. I think all dirt racing should be at least 2 announcers now. Nobody's going to be Johnny Gibson. Go the late model route. The late model route's 2 guys, you know, they're in there fucking bannering back and forth. That's when it's great. When it's 1 guy, everybody's like, where's the other one? So that's the A problem. The A problem is presentation. The B problem, that I don't know if any of them can technically fix right now, is that they kind of are okay with it.
Yeah, that's my point. Why would, as a business owner, as a CEO, let's take Brian Carter, for example, and you're sitting in your chair, somebody calls you and goes, man, you guys need to do it different. And he's going, motherfucker, we sell out everywhere we go.
Right.
We are literally making the max amount of money we could possibly make at every single venue we go.
Right.
Why would I change? Well, we're not interested in the fans you got, Brian. We're interested in the fans you don't got. And that is what you need to be targeting. You need to be 5 years ahead on your style of marketing or who you're going after. If a farmer doesn't replant and goes out and harvests, and then he goes in, counts his harvest, gets his money, lives through the winter and doesn't replant, and then goes back out to his field and there's nothing there, it's the farmer's fault. You should have replanted. You should have known the next spring you were going to need to have replanted so that your crop could come back.
Or proper business people say, I'm planting everything I have, I'm selling all I have. The proper business guy buys another acre.
Yeah.
Listen,
The proper business guy.
true business
invests.
moguls are always expanding, growing, investing, building, getting bigger.
One of the most hittingest moments of my life, when I worked down at Devil's Bow, my boss was Lanny Edwards.
Lanny Edwards.
Who fucking...
Do not stand on the fucking concrete.
Well, he funded the Chili Bow. He was
I
part
know.
of the Chili Bow. They're still heavily involved. That little flag that, you know, it says, you seen the big T-shirt?
Anybody in the comments?
Have you seen the big T-shirt that, you know, is on the Chili Bow floor?
Yes, I have.
I designed that flag. That's my sticker
for the
that
Edwards.
I made.
Yeah.
When he passed away. That's my actual graphic on the floors of the Chili Bow
Nice.
right now. Now, it was recreated based on their shirts, but I made that graphic. He came to me one time. I was doing all I could in Dallas. We got 8 million people. We're trying to get fucking 2. Almost impossible because of the relevancy of the sport. And I footwork this area. I'm walking into fucking big time car dealerships and roofing companies, and the businesses are amount. I mean, it's crazy. I probably tracked 10,000 miles trying to attract people and sponsorship. And I got some done. I created the title sponsorships and all the stuff down there when I was involved, and made growth, but I didn't get the growth on the fan side. And we walked out to I think it was a Wednesday. Me and Lanny walked out. They were doing some work on the fence. And he looks to turn 3 and 4. When 3 and 4 at Devil's Bow, they had the big giant stands, probably 45 rows. And he turned to me and he said, "You see these motherfuckers?" Obviously, Lanny used to get pretty hyped. Like you said, get the fuck off the concrete.
Yeah. Get off my parking lot.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to park there, Lenny? No.
He goes, "You see these motherfucking grandstands?" He goes, "I didn't build these fucking stands because I wanted them. I built them because I fucking needed them." Because there was a point where that track was bringing people in enough in the 90s, 2000s.
Absolutely.
that
Hell, I
you-
can remember going there ASCS 2005. The place is crazy.
He had to build stands because he was worried. Just because I'm full, don't mean I can't make some more. You know.
Yeah.
And this sport, and this is why I know that this sport didn't always think like how it thinks now. Because how it thinks now is, we're making our money, we're full. Why change it? Why try to build?
Well, and again,
Why is Knoxville not got stands around the fucking turn 3 and 4 right now?
They can't fill them on a weekly deal.
Well, that's their bigger problem. That's relevancy for
Right.
the record. Because you got enough populace in fucking Des Moines to fill this motherfucker up 25 times. But you don't care about that. You only want to fill it up once a year to fucking satisfy your hunger. The sport has become lazy.
I don't know that it's,
I think it's laziness.
I don't know that it's lazy. I think that it's complacency. And there's a difference between laziness and complacency. Laziness is the inability to get up and do for yourself because you just can't seem to muster the courage or the ambition. Complacency is, why the fuck would I change? I'm living fat. I'm making money. I got a bad bitch. I drive a Cadillac. What the fuck would I need to change for? Right? That's complacency.
But don't you think it's lazy to not want to strive to be more?
No, I think that's complacency. I think lazy is a lack of effort or ambition. There's plenty of ambitious
you
people
could
who
say
make
that-
stupid decisions and
But
don't
you
do
could
the right
say you're
thing.
saying complaints about this sport okay with where they're at, a lack of ambition.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's in the lazy category. You just
Okay.
said.
All right, yeah.
That's what I mean.
I don't necessarily think it's lazy because that would denote that somebody's just sitting around doing nothing. I'm not saying
Well,
that
how
these guys.
easy was it for Kendra to just walk in and fucking operate the building?
True. I'm not saying that they're being lazy. What I'm saying is they're doing just enough to keep it the way it is because they don't have to change. And as a
Well, then, so you're saying it's what success?
well, it's what
Is
they're
success at Knoxville fucking putting 1,500 people or 500 sometimes at their local racing event?
No, not at all.
Is that success? So why are they complacent?
Because they make enough money during the Knoxville Nationals
They don't need to.
that
Well, then doesn't that fall in the lazy category?
yeah, well, I guess I mean
Oh, I'm just saying, you brought this up. So.
yes, yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, I do think that. I think that living off of your big event and not trying to build your event that you do way more times a year than just one. Yeah, no, that's
So back. I loved getting these people on this. So they're basically waiting for the check at the beginning of the month.
basically.
Yeah. Their government cheese is coming.
Well, I mean,
That's why they're lazy.
Well-
Strap your own boots up, like they say to those people. You're doing the same.
and it's hard work to put on a mega event like the Knoxville Nationals or the
Is
Kings
it?
Royal. Or well, yeah, there's a lot that goes
You don't
into
think
it.
that shit happens?
There's lots of moving parts. What I'm saying is as hard as you work during that week, try that 30 weeks out of the year and see what happens. Right?
If you're motivated enough.
That's my
if
point.
If your ambition is high,
Yeah.
then that's what you want to do. You want to grow, you want to expand, you want to be bigger, better, and faster. You want to compete.
For me, it wouldn't be about any of those things. It would be about I want to be successful 5 years from now. One of the things I've done over the past 15 years is I've always chased who I'm going to be in 5 years. That way I'm never satisfied and I'm never stop growing and I never stop getting better. Nothing's ever good enough because I want to be the guy I'm going to be 5 years from now every single day.
It's driving you.
That'll never change.
Yeah.
So
Do you not think, and this is where I come into the category with my stuff, I always try to beat myself.
yes,
Yeah.
because I'm in competition
Yeah.
with me. Make no
Yeah.
mistake. And this isn't any offense
Yeah.
to any other
Yeah, well, and I always
content or
stop.
film guys out there, but if you think you're gonna fucking get them up with me, you better wake up pretty damn early
Right.
because you are not outworking me. You are not out conceptualizing me. You are not out creative in me. You none of those things. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Right.
Period.
And that's what I think true greatness is. That's why I don't worry about critics.
Right, me neither.
My motherfucking worst critics are me when I look in the mirror when I brush my teeth
I
every
mean,
day.
that's the way it's got to be. If you truly
Fuck
believe in
you.
yourself, then you won't try and ascend to other people's level. You will set the level. Period.
Oh, and anytime you accomplish that
Like, I'm
level,
not
then
trying-
it's like, what is the next one?
Yeah, that's and never.
I think
never
and that goes-
satisfied.
That goes for all the greats. I think Tom Brady's worst fucking critic was himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was never, nothing was ever good enough for him. And people are like, oh, that's unhealthy. Yeah. My rings seem to think it's pretty healthy.
Well,
All 6 of them.
but he still got cheated on.
What I'm saying to you is people can say that you take the wins and you need to. Nah, not really. Successful people in life, super successful, or people who are truly great at what they do, they are never satisfied. That's what makes them great.
And they're crazy.
Is their ability to push, pull, bang, slang, and just when you thought, dude, I can't even believe that person's standing, they're just getting started.
Right.
That's us.
That's crazy. You know that's crazier. Think about some of
Fucking
the most,
crazy like a fox on what?
Think about the most memorable people in our human history.
Yeah, they were all
They were
shit
all
house,
fucking
nutty,
nuts.
nuttier than shit house rats. Some of the
Do you know
smartest,
how
most
crazy
financially
it is?
influential
Do you know
people.
how crazy it is to get in a ship and sail off into nothing
Yeah, nuts.
and think
Nuts.
that maybe we'll find something out there? The
Crazy.
people who discovered America literally got in a boat
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
and just said, "Let's go find it."
All right, so what's our next topic here?
Oh, this is the topic. Philosophy.
We were supposed to be doing
W-
posters.
Are you a fan of Mark Richards? Okay, we'll go.
From Rocket Chassis?
All right, we can't answer that. Honestly.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, come on. What? Still.
I'm a Brandon Shepard fan. I like
Chaz,
B
where
Shep.
is that sexy ass red helmet? I don't know what he just mean. I don't have a red helmet, sir. Need more front gate. Yeah, well, I think that's the problem with the industry is that it's went to a back gate business model.
Well, yeah.
It's not a front gate business model anymore. You know.
I don't think it ever was.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely. If you
Yeah.
look at if you look at photos at any local racetrack across
Yeah,
the country,
100%.
dirt track in the 80s,
Oh yeah,
it was literally the fire marshal was there telling
Once
people
again, Lanny Edwards built more stands, not because he wanted them,
right.
because he needed them.
Right. And again, it's because the local dirt track was the biggest party. It was the place to be. And your local superstars, because back then they were superstars.
Yeah.
You went into your local Cragans or Shucks. They're all your fucking heroes were. They're raced at the track 10 miles down the road. Right? That's just not a thing anymore.
And it's funny, it ties into a bunch of things. Garage bands. People coming up in local rock and roll scenes or local rap scenes. This was prior to and this is, I don't know if this is correct to say or not, but studying what I've studied, it's true. This is prior to the pop culture era. This is prior to a television screen telling you what is cool and what is not. Because prior to that television screen telling you these things, people in your community told you.
Yeah, well, the world
People
was...
in your newspapers told you who was cool, what was nice, what did you want to do in life. The expectation, this is why relationships were more successful too. You didn't have falsity-based ideologies of what success was.
Right.
Success in these time periods was winning at Knoxville Weekly or Devil's Bowl Weekly. You're a track champion. You're the icon.
Yeah. If you were to win at Williams Grove in the 90s in the height
Right.
of the fucking posse, it's like, holy fuck. Bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
It's prior, and this is why I still go back and blame NASCAR, maybe because they won the pop culture era.
But like you said, do you blame NASCAR?
No, I blame laziness.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can blame NASCAR all you want. The reality is if I let you in my house and I let you bang my old lady, that's just as much my fault as it is your fault. I can't blame you all the way. Now, you're evil for coming in and doing that, but I'm...
Complacent.
Yeah. If I let you come in and do that, then I'm the problem too.
Right. Right.
So...
Well, and I think that's the problem with NASCAR and dirt racing fans is they don't want to accept that complacency because, once again, that would be high limit problem number 2. The reason they're complacent is because they got that Kyle Larson cheeseburger.
Meaning what? His clout or his money?
Well, why are they successful?
High limit?
How do they get a crowd to the track?
They don't.
When do they?
A, when Kyle Larson's there.
A.
Or B, when it's a venue that sprint car racing really hasn't had a touring series at in a long time.
How did that work at Paris?
I don't,
Empty.
abysmal at best. That's my point. Well, Paris is a non-wing centric track.
They ain't had a national. I thought the stipulations was they ain't got a national race in a long time.
Well, what I'm saying to you is Paris is kind of different because that's non-wing country all the way.
Okay.
Period. The end. Where I see High Limit have success is when they go to the venues where either A, they haven't had a national touring series there for a while.
Well, Arizona was a big success, but they also had Kyle there.
Arizona's closed down 75% of their dirt tracks.
Yeah,
in the
but they
past
got a
5
lot
years.
of fans there because of Manzanita.
What I'm saying to you is Arizona dirt track fans are begging for
Yeah,
any
they're
racing whatsoever,
yeah.
let alone a touring series. They're all over that shit.
They're the average 30-year-old male. They ain't had sex in fucking 20 years.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, I could agree with you on that, but at the end of the
I mean,
day,
look,
end of the day, the selling point of High Limit to get a crowd is Kyle,
yeah, no doubt.
and they're living and dying on his back.
Well, you got to understand that business model isn't new. When Tony Stewart first started racing dirt cars when he was in
But the
NASCAR,
Outlaws still got crowds.
what I'm saying to you is
ASCS didn't. You know, or where Tony would go and run ASCS.
the two
events
dudes
and-
who I would see get paid to show up just so the crowds would be big
donated to their foundation
would be Tony Stewart and Casey Kane. And no offense, but I don't know how in the world. I'm just going to say it as nicely as I can. Casey Kane is the most overrated race car driver probably that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like,
oh God,
your entire career achievement is that you were the most popular female fan driver for 2 years. That's your biggest.
Didn't Jason
real
Sowald won like where he's from, Northwest area of the
Jason Sowald was way
better.
in a sprint car than Casey Kane.
Right.
Period.
Well, and this is
And
why
Kane got a good opportunity in going running in the Durst in the Beast car, and great. But like where I'm from, nobody was like scared of Casey Kane if he showed up, or that's the guy to beat. You know,
no, he was a mid-packer
at best.
So,
At best.
So, and this is
His highest finish with the Northern Sprint Tour, which is a 360 tour, was third in points. And I think
didn't he win one race?
And I think that's because two dudes had like 3 races they missed. So I just never understood what the big deal was about that guy. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm not throwing shade or I'm not a hater. Hey, you do you, bud.
He got in with Evernham, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do you.
Aaron Crocker.
But
Aaron Crocker.
if people are looking to be intimidated because, it's Casey Kane starting next to me. That's the dude on the board. I'm going, I got him. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's just a fact.
Well, in his modern example, if I was to think about a dirt track guy who's went to NASCAR and won races and seems to have some kind of clout and superiority over the rest of the competition just because he went to NASCAR, that would be Chase Briscoe.
Yeah.
This is the biggest field filler in fucking Indiana sprint car history. And he's won NASCAR races. He's on Joe Gibbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we need any example of how mediocre talent-based wise you have to go to the NASCAR level and win, Chase Briscoe's, I think, honestly, a worse driver than Casey.
Yeah, he's such a nice dude.
I like Chase. I
Chase
have no
Briscoe.
problems with Chase Briscoe. Called me the Steve Kinser of online racing like 10 years ago. I have no problems with Chase Briscoe, and Casey Kane, no problems with Casey.
I don't. I just feel
he's a
like
great
he's
guy.
been the most overrated dude, driver.
Could you say less of Chase? Honestly,
I don't think.
if I was to compare Chase
I don't
and
think
Casey Kane,
yeah, but I
Casey
don't
Kane's a
think-
better driver than Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, but I don't think Chase Briscoe has ascended to the popularity or the level in
Well, that's
NASCAR or
because
dirt.
that's the era of NASCAR's fault.
Yeah.
That's the era of NASCAR, because NASCAR's not fair. And this is the problem with NASCAR popularity, is if I watch a NASCAR race as a person, and I think it sucks and it's boring, it's just like if I watch the NFL and I think it sucks and it's boring. I don't just judge NFL. I judge football as it sucks and boring. I don't care about your college shit and your high school stuff. Your pro example was boring. NASCAR, because it's pushed as the pro level, if they fucking suck, I think people write racing off, period. It destroys the element of the sport. Even though it's not the same, we know that because we're in it. But regular, casual people that's going to expand the relevance of racing, I think they write all of racing off as boring and dumb when NASCAR sucks. Because that's the NFL
So what you're saying
example.
is NASCAR being the example that the mainstream gets to see, because they put on such a boring product on the racetrack, people just assume all racing's that way. Let me guess. I had this. Listen, I was with this chick. She's bad, but
Where's your girl at? She left it. All right, you can keep talking.
my girl's secure enough in it. Anyways, dude, every single time I would either go to a race and come back, she'd be like, "How'd you guys do?" You know, that we broke, or hey, we won. Well, let me guess. You guys turn left, then you turn left again. Whoa, wait.
Well,
She
yeah,
said,
exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Exactly.
You turn left again. And so she was just so like, what is your guys' fucking deal?
Why are
You'll
we
build
going in circles?
You'll build a car till 5 a.m. You'll spend 10 grand on tires, refresh on the motor. It costs you $1,500 just to drive the back door. And you're going out and trying best 30 other animals for $1,200 to win. The fuck? She used to tell me this all the time. She said, what is wrong with you guys? And I'd say, man, you should see what they do at the outlaw level.
Right.
Like, you think we're spending stupid
10
money.
times.
Yeah. Like, it's the most craziest thing you've ever seen. It's as close to a heroin addiction as you'll ever find in your life. Period. The dudes are just dressed better and they don't have sores on their face.
Yeah.
It's fact. I mean, if you can be a driver at the highest level, like sprint cars or late models, and make a living, dude, I applaud you. And that's awesome. And at the highest level, a lot of those guys do. But most of them do it off their merch. They're not doing it off of winnings. I mean, they might make some money, but you're a pro athlete. You make 6 figures. Ooh. AAA ball player makes 6 figures. Okay? The dude who plays for the Hackensack fucking Bulls makes more than you, and you're supposed to be the highest level dude in all of your sport. They got a train going through their outfield. Right? They don't even warm up with new balls, and these dudes are making more money than you. Packing the stands at 1,700 people to
Women's
watch.
golf.
Whatever. Like, get your shit together. Start demanding more. Demand more of the sport. Demand more of your promoters. Demand more of your series owners, and demand more. That's all. I mean,
But they don't have the power.
Of course, they have the power.
They do, but they don't understand it
They're
because
the
they're the short-sighted vision of who's paying my way. It's the same thing. It's back to I hate to say it, the Illuminati ideology. Like, the people who are funding the cars, the sponsors, the people who make it tick, they're projecting an ideology as you can't live without me.
I know, but that's just...
It's not true,
It's not
but
true.
they're psyoped.
Yeah, no, I
That's
agree
why I
with
say
that.
it's Illuminati. It's like it's like fucking, men who stare at goats. They believe it. They don't think they have any power. They can be replaced tomorrow. There's a guy in PA wants to take my spot. Justin Sanders wants the 2 car. Maybe he could do just as good. If I say
Half
the
the
wrong,
dudes out there.
if I say the wrong things to this guy, he's gonna get rid of me, and I'm.
Half the guys in California.
This is why we don't have characters. This is why people don't get on a mic and run their mouth like Kofoid should have done tonight. Because they're scared to death. They're so worried.
Did you see the new Dale Earnhardt documentary
I didn't
on
know.
Amazon?
You think they would learn
I
from
already
their
knew
predecessors?
this because I already know a lot of the story behind that because I've done a lot of research on it. But Dale Earnhardt wrecked out Darrell Waltrip in a race.
At North Wilkesboro.
And NASCAR come unglued. And they went to Wrangler. And they said, what are you going to do about this?
The sponsor.
And the sponsor said, we're going to tell them to keep doing it. We're Wrangler. That's our business. We disrupt. We fuck shit up. It's the whole reason why we sponsor him, because he's not going to hold his tongue. We encourage him to do it again. So, and NASCAR was befuddled by that. They were like, but wait, you don't have the control to get your guy under. And they were like, we didn't put Dale Earnhardt in our car or sponsor Dale Earnhardt because it was to be controlled. We sponsored Dale Earnhardt to unleash him. So welcome to the fucking party, boys. That's what we need.
Well, but that's a product.
That's what we need.
But that's a product sponsor. We don't have them.
What I'm saying to you is
We don't
people
have
need to
product
start
sponsors.
adopting the fact of keeping it real. Keeping it real on the mic, keeping it real with the fans, keeping it real with each other. You know, the best sign I've ever seen at a dirt track is fighting in the pits is a $100 fine. Fighting on the front stretch is a $100 check. If you're going to fucking fight, you're going to do it in front of my paying fans because that's what they came to see. So you do it over there where none of my fans can see, I'm going to fine you. You do it on the front stretch where everybody gets to enjoy it, I'll give you $100. Ready? Go. That's what this sport is missing. That rugged, manly, these are, I hate to say it, men used to drive these cars. There are still some.
Tanner Thorson.
Nah.
90% of the late model field.
Love Tanner Thorson to death, but my daughter would whoop Tanner Thorson's ass.
The
And
late,
she's
you can't
this
say
big.
that about the late model industry.
No, you cannot. There are still quite a few real, rugged, hardcore, hard-nosed, got that old man strength, will fucking light you
Your
up. in
daughter
2
versus Tyler Erb.
Ooh, my daughter does fucking do jujitsu, so I.
Well, now you're boisterous.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, Turbo, probably that middle ground. He still keeps it real. He's still a throwback to that dude from the 70s or 80s. He's kind of more like the Jack Hewitt.
But I was
types.
about to say it, Jack.
Okay, I love that. That's why, honestly, in the late model world, Turbo's my number one guy that I like.
All right.
Period. The end. Then I like Superman. Not because
What
he's.
about if Tyler Carpenter takes off his Hey Dudes and hits her?
I mean, I have to fuck Tyler
Big-
Carpenter.
Oh, come on!
But
He's about the same size as a sprint car guy. That's why I said that. But
well, what I'm saying to you is we just need to get back to that rugged.
in the
outlaw.
sprint car world,
It's World of Outlaws. It's not World of fucking
Pussies.
Poindexters. It's not World of nice guys. It's the world of fucking outlaws. Act as such.
Yeah.
right?
Roll into town with your bandana over your face. Knock up the fucking stool maid. Grab a beer. Smack the fucking dude on the way out of town. And let him know you were here. That's outlaw. Like World of
That's
Outlaws.
Kinzer.
Not World of Nice Guys. Not
That's-
World of Prim and Proper. Not World of, oh, well, you know.
Okay, what's what I say?
Well, no, I don't even think half of them are watching what they say. I think half of them are just that guy. That if they were alone on a subway in New York City, they'd be like,
Fucking
holy.
pissing
They
themselves.
would literally be shitting their pants. If I took them with me to say Phoenix or Detroit, where I go film underground street culture and hood shit, these dudes would run, dude. They would run faster than their sprint car could go. Period.
You get 5 minutes in and they'd ask you, they'd be like, Jesse, can you get
Cut.
me out of here?
It's not. Look, I'm not trying to say I'm a badass, but what I
No.
will say is I was raised by one of those grown ass men that we're talking about. Where fuck around and find out still a real thing. You respect and don't underestimate anybody. Period. The end. And if you're gonna be the man, be the man. Don't say you're the man. Just be the man. Like act as such. You know what I mean? And to me, a lot of dudes
Too-
at the
too-
top are just so soft.
the
We need
big-
more Cody Jacobs, but in a car.
Well, that's why I went to Cody, because that's the only ones I could find.
Like we talked about this before, when your biggest polarizing badass in the pits is a crew chief and not a driver,
because of Facebook.
you guys aren't doing it right. You guys need to you need to go watch a UFC event or an NFL game or any other sport where the alphas act like alphas, not a bunch of
Right,
Poindexters.
right.
Yeah.
You're selling an alpha sport, but yet you aren't alphas. Not hardly any of you.
And it's so odd. They're willing to die tonight, but they ain't got the balls to even drink a beer sometimes.
Well,
You got a lot of mixed drink bitches in the sport.
A lot of the chat agrees with us.
Can you
With
give
that.
me a Michelob? I
are
got
they
something-
agreeing with us?
Are they? Are they really?
What are they saying?
saying?
Read us down some. Let's get into it.
Somebody said Kevin Now says I like this guy. Kevin Nouse is in here.
What up,
Am I
Kevin
out?
Nouse?
Am I-
Listen, so
Hold on, Kevin Nouse. You talk
Kevin
to-
Nouse, I called you the Edward Snowden of sprint
Oh
car
my
racing the other
God,
day.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, no, because I think Edward Snowden was a patriot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he shouldn't be banned.
And I think anyone who's willing to stand up for what's right instead of what's convenient deserves to have that praise. So, Kevin Nouse, you got all the love in the world from me. I don't know you. I met you one time. But yeah, no, I applaud what you've done as far as sticking up for yourself, sticking up for the industry, and just calling right and wrong. I mean, we need more of that in the sport.
He said, I'm 50-50 on this guy. I guess you.
50-50? Like what? Like, you gonna buy a ticket or?
20 says you have no clue what alpha is.
No? Wow.
Oh, wow. Can you explain to him what an alpha is?
An alpha is the baddest motherfucker in the room, and he knows it, and so he acts as such. So.
Do you think that there is no sprint car guys that are an alpha?
I wouldn't say that.
Who? Drivers.
Drivers?
Who
In my opinion, I think right now,
if you say
Aaron Reitzel.
Oh God! All right, how about you throw a bicycle at me, Sean? See what happens. He got.
I mean, he talks the talk, but
he looked like it until Wayne Johnson.
No, I mean an alpha. Like if I wheel you, I know it's coming.
Right.
Like I know that I'm gonna have to be handy with my hands when I get out of the car because, well, that's just how that dude handles himself.
Oh, and now it's
the Terry McCarrolls of the world, where you didn't just do something to Terry McCarroll without knowing it was coming. Or Steve Kinzer. If he decided to come down and wrap you up like a pretzel, it wasn't an official on the planet going to get in the way of that. That's because they all knew they were going to be pretzel too. I mean, right? So I'm not saying everybody needs a fight, but like, come on, man. Let's add a little excitement back to the sport. Let's get gritty. Let's get dirty again.
Let's get, and probably the only guy who's close, Dietrich.
Yeah.
Dietrich's probably the only one.
Yeah.
Out of all of them. In the sprint car world. I think the late model world is pretty full.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a way healthier balance in the late model world of just grizzled men that act like men. Like you couldn't just walk up and just say any old thing without fucking getting rocked.
I think that's because of the icons. The icon of the sprint car world for 30 years has been Jeff Gordon. The icon of the late model world for 30 years has been Scott Bloomquist.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Bloomquist will fly a fucking plane into a barn if you fuck around too much. Give me some cancer, I guess, according to the news across the airways today. But Scott Bloomquist didn't give a fuck. He's getting out of the car saying "suck it" to 20,000 people, kiss my fucking ass.
Yeah, with zero apologies.
Whereas the Jeff Gordon model, or everybody wants to be Kyle based himself on Jeff, self-admittingly, and even David Gravel is saying he grew up wanting to be Jeff Gordon. These models or influences are fucking, let me get up on the stage, make sure my fucking suit collar's right, make sure everybody's sponsor's named, say I love you, and collect the check and go home.
Well, my question is, okay, you're doing that to like make sure that you're prim and proper. For who? The corporate America is not coming, guys. They're not here.
You're right.
They're not here, and they're not coming. So fucking act a fool. Like you've already done it. You've already done it the proper way. They
Where'd
ain't
it
calling.
get you? Well, yeah, where'd it get you?
So let's try it the other way, and let's start acting a fool, and like really turn up the wick on the intensity of not just what goes on the track, but just overall. Period. The fucking end. Like, again, you can criticize Turbo for what he did to Bobby Pierce
at USA,
yeah.
Cedar Lake.
But I say that literally put a shot in the arm of the sport for like the next 2 years. Just waiting to see what Turbo and Bobby were going to do next.
They're still.
If you do not have those rivalries, if you do not have competition within the competition,
it's boring.
It's not sports.
It's boring.
Anymore. It's not sports anymore.
Yeah, you got to have a guy who.
You need the Ray Lewis to come out and he'll kill your whole family just to get the ball in this down. You need that.
Yeah.
You need the intensity.
You don't necessarily need the actual act. You need the illusion.
Well, not even the illusion, just that intensity. So you want to know what makes Johnny Gibson the best announcer in all of motorsports? He doesn't even take one lap off where he makes a joke or makes light of what's going on.
It's all serious.
Every single lap, from hot laps to the lowest level guy who's 3 seconds off the pace, to the guy who wins the main event that night. He approaches it like this is the most important thing you're ever going to watch tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Every lap. He does not make light of our sport. And why should he? These guys are going out and putting their life on the line, 1 inch from a wall on dirt. It ain't fucking funny.
No.
There's nothing funny about it. It's a serious sport. It's like bull riding in UFC or any fight promotion. Those guys aren't up there cracking jokes.
Right.
They're allowing you to feel how severe it is to be ringside by giving you that kind of vibe. So you get it, and that's why Johnny Gibson is the best at what he does, because he is a master at taking even the most mundane things and making them feel like you are at the event of the year because of how serious it is.
And I don't think that'll ever be matched. I don't think
that's that intensity though that we need in the rest of the pits and on the track.
Yeah, it has to be dispersed, you know. And you know, it is pretty fucking sad that, you know, me and Cody are having to do Facebook videos, you know, to get that intensity translated to the.
Trust me, I'd love to go back to a world where we live in that just the great racing is what brings fans. We have the best product.
But it was also the characters. It wasn't just the racing.
That's my point. That is my point. Is even then, even back then, they understood there has to be some of a WWE type vibe here. There absolutely has to. And even the purists were like, we don't need that in our sport. Like whoever was like, we don't need corporate America. Really? You want tickets to be $90 a piece? Because if corporate America doesn't get involved here real fucking soon, you're going to pay $100 a ticket just to go see your World of Outlaws. That's per person. So you want to change your thought process on wanting corporate America to get involved?
I think what you're trying to say is corporate America gets involved with shit that is exciting.
Correct.
And attuned to.
It's polarizing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Conor McGregor made some of the biggest sponsorship deals in UFC history.
All the while talking shit, flipping up promoters and throwing shit all over the place.
Yeah, throwing fucking dollies into a van and busting windows.
Well, and who's some of the most famous football or baseball? All the controversial dudes.
Unless you're going to get with Taylor Swift like Travis Kelce.
Right, which that's a one-off.
Yeah, 100% one-off. I mean, you do have to do some, you don't have to do extreme things, but you have to do authentic things.
Yes.
First of all, let me just say this. All you people who are out there on your camera saying the nice things, everyone is done with the Kim Kardashian era of fakeness. They don't want fake eyebrows and fake titties and Brazilian butt lifts. We can see you're not being real.
I'll still do the titties, but everything else has got to go.
We can tell that you're being a fucking corporate little puppet on a screen now.
But what makes
and no one likes that.
Well, not only that, corporate isn't here. So who are you fucking dog and pony showing for?
We can tell that you're sucking the dick of your rich car owner who has 3 companies that's on the car. That's the majority of the owners. What fucking race car's out there with corporate sponsorship outside of TSR who's living on Tony's welfare from getting those connections?
And Nas.
And Casey Kane. Napa's on Brad Sweet's car because Casey Kane was a NASCAR star in the 2000s. Mm-hmm. Period. Who else? Nas? You're saying Nas.
I'm saying Nas, but they have a...
And I could barely find Nas at a fucking Love's Travel stop. So what the fuck are they? He's stumped.
No, I don't know how to frame that because Nas has a different... They are successful in their endeavor.
Niche.
Because their only endeavor is to make sure that they slow down the sale of Rockstar so the Monster can be at the top.
So they're the front line.
They don't need to sell a bunch of Nas. They just need to make sure you don't buy Rockstar. That's it. That's why Monster bought Nas. Was to get a competing brand to go ahead and stifle the competition so that they could just jump right to the top. Now listen, you're not ever going to stifle Red Bull. I don't give a fuck. Red Bull is so much bigger than every other.
And it's a German company, isn't it?
Yes, and their market share is like 53% of the entire market. The rest of every other energy drink on planet Earth has to share the other fucking 40 whatever
and
percent.
We're simply saying go the prime route.
Yeah.
We're simply saying go the prime route.
Look,
Try to organically develop something that can challenge.
or like Nas does it right. They build cool content, they build culture, they build branding, they make their drivers superstars, at least in their own little world. Each
Right.
NOS team driver gets put onto some kind of production, whether it be, you know, we're going to go race Indy cars and paint them all, you know, nitro grape. And this, they're at least doing something to where that core group of dudes that they put together over the last 5 years are known throughout the racing world just because of that. Not because of their accomplishments on the track. They might not even know their name, but they might recognize them because of what NOS did as far as their content goes. So NOS knows what the code is. And they know that because they're owned by Monster. And Monster is the one who wrote the code.
Somebody said Red Bull is Austrian. Fine.
Eastern Bloc. Give me a fucking break.
Right. I thought that, was it at one point Monster was a Coca-Cola company?
I believe so. I believe what happened was Coca-Cola owned a bunch of energy drink brands. And this conglomeration owned a bunch of diet drinks.
Okay.
And so everybody was like, oh, energy drinks are bad for you. So Coke was like, fuck, we need to get rid of this and we need to get these diet drinks or these health drinks. How about we just swap them over? And they did that. And then Monster and their companies went and made Monster what it actually is. Monster before was kind of a
Brian Deegan.
failed. Well, it was kind of a failed thing until they really got going on their own. They weren't corporately owned anymore. They were able to just say, fuck it, let's just go make some cool shit. Let's just go start sponsoring the dudes no one wants to hear from. Let's go sponsor the wildest motherfuckers out there.
And that's how you got Metal Militia.
They went away from the pretty boy of Supercross in their neon pants and their blonde hair. And they went the Brian Deegan route with fucking spikes and horns like the Road Warriors.
And don't you think that people are, when they see the racing in dirt, sprint cars in particular, they think they're going to get Brian Deegan's. And they're getting what we're describing.
Yeah.
They're getting these, they get this fucking 1,000 horsepower beast psycho machine. And the guy gets out the car and he's Buddy Kofoid.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, no, I agree.
I beat the High Limit series and we're going to fucking whoop their ass.
I mean,
next
because the
week.
deal is this. Even as a geek neck dude who can't really talk tough, you can still get out and say some really cryptic shit.
Yeah.
Be like, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be like this.
Just say it.
Just
You're whooping ass on the
throw
track.
it down, dog. You should have planted your flag. I would have had a World of Outlaw flag in tow with one of my crew guys and fucking stuck that motherfucker in the front stretch.
We're here.
You're up,
We're
bitches. Like that, we need that.
Right.
That crowd would have went fucking nuts, and everybody in Knoxville this week would have been like, "Who you got? Who you got?
We gotta be
I'm a
here
high limit
Friday."
guy. Yeah, dude. You guys are not building the rivalry at all, or you're at least not building it to its fullest potential. Period.
Yeah. It's pathetic.
So, what did we think about the race?
It's okay. Corey Day stepped on his dick and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, that motherfucker's gonna have to take it home in a dump truck because he stepped on it good.
Yeah. Kofoid won. Macri made a mistake by not being aggressive enough.
What about the all-ball sandwich?
That was pretty bad. Pretty bad in the 1 and 2. I mean, I'm sure they'll have the cars ready by this Friday, Saturday, or whatever, but it wasn't good for the Allball guys. And back to Knoxville being lazy. I mean, Dennis Allball paid for that fucking suite because he couldn't get one. Oh, I can't rent me a suite in Knoxville. Well, I'll just buy a fucking building, and I have a suite.
I'll build a motherfucker myself.
That's how that was constructed, by the way.
Which one is that? A new one?
The new one over here.
Oh, I haven't even seen it yet.
There's a new suite building next to the Brian Clausen Tower.
Oh, there's another.
Well, no,
yeah,
Brian Clausen Tower's on the opposite end.
No, it's not. It's right next to, the Hall of Fame Tower.
Nice.
He couldn't get a suite, so Dennis Allball paid to build a suite.
I've known dudes like that. I actually worked for a team where dude's dad was like, "Hey, we're gonna order a new toter home," and my guy was like, "Well, I like Sammy's design. It's unique. It's different. I want that." I'm just going to send them the blueprints. And they were like, oh, we can't do that. And so his dad bought 51% of that hallmark of the fucking toter home company and said, you're going to build that. It was like that. I was like, holy shit balls.
Right.
But that's how some guys roll. Like Christian Bale. He's like, oh, I don't think it'll be a problem. I own the place. 2 tables. You know what I mean? Like, just straight up.
Right.
I kind of like when people make power play moves like that.
Well, Dennis Allball's that guy. But he sandwiched 2 cars tonight.
Yep. He had a chicken sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a Longhorn and a Rocket. Or whatever Jimmy Owens was driving.
Yeah, I don't know. What's he in these days?
They do too many things in those late model shops to know.
Yeah.
They cut and paste.
I'll say this. There is a lot more innovation or like different things from one late model to another than in the sprint car world. I mean, sprint car world is basically, if you got the baddest motor builder, everybody can buy the best parts. If you can give a guy a decent setup, doesn't have to be magical, just decent to where he can go out and do his job, but make sure that motor's running right, then it kind of turns into a driver's thing.
Right.
Late models, there's a lot fucking going on there, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
Put the bars in the wrong spot. Bye.
Well, you know, there's just so many ways to tune yourself in or out in a late model versus a sprint car. So
yeah.
And they go out and race for 100 laps. So you got 100 laps for your car to really fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like late models. I think they're dope.
Okay, Team Longhorn.
I think they're dope.
Unbelievable.
They're dope.
They're dope.
What else in the chats? What do we got?
They're fucking, I don't know. We're at 2 hours. I mean, we could kill it. Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Fuck hell
Oh,
yeah.
no.
We're here all week.
Do we need a part 2 with Jesse?
We're here
Sean?
all week.
He won't even be able to function tomorrow now.
Who? Me?
You.
Yeah,
What time is it?
Oh, shit.
Midnight.
Midnight.
Oh, shit. Man, he's trying to keep him up. He's trying to go to work.
I
man.
just noticed.
Well, ask them if they got anything else. If not, salude.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It just sounded cool.
Okay. Oh, God. Is that it? Then?
I mean, I don't know. Do we have any questions or
I didn't see
man.
it.
shit
What
talking?
happened
Somebody
now?
said no part 2 with this guy.
Wow.
Why? You don't like me?
Well, his name is Stealing Time, so
Well, I mean, why is he trying to steal my shine?
Stealing Time.
I'm gonna call him stealing shine.
Why don't we make a part 2? Open the phone lines.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Phone lines?
Shit, open them up right now. Let's
No,
get it.
no,
Oh,
don't be here till 3 a.m.
Oh,
You're going to be here tomorrow, right? You'll be in town.
yeah, I'll be here all week.
So if you want to whoop his ass, Knoxville, come and get him. He called you out. Anyway, that's it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess thanks for tuning in. Is this where we do the similar?
How do you normally sign off?
Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Be
the-
sure to
the thing-
like the video.
Thanks Teresa and Dennis Roth for the opportunity.
Like the video, comment below, share.
Go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Dirtco
No.
Media House. Let's go!
Oh God. Anyways,
I mean, if you're into cool shit. If not, then, well,
right.
you
If
probably
you
got
wanna-
beat up as a kid and your brother stuffed you in a fucking locker and we don't
Hey,
care
don't
about
be-
you anyway.
Don't be talking about Brad Sweet that way.
Oh.
Anyway, Caitlin, come and save him. No, I'm just. Did I say that out loud? Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse Douglas, Dirtco Media House. Go look up some of his stuff. Not that kind of stuff. The OnlyFans is reserved for me.
I'm on the big boy site. It's called Fans Only, not OnlyFans.
Oh my God. I'm on. If you want to feel normal, go check my OnlyFans out. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment below. As always, be sure to subscribe. We will catch you next time. Any sign out?
Deuces.
Oh, God.
See, I can make as many enemies as you.
We can ride high, we can ride low, we can ride anywhere we need to go. As long as we make the show, we can be the best.